afternoon. We're here with Professor Javed Mostafa, who is on the faculty here in the School of Information and Library Science at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Welcome, Javed.
Thank you.
Let's begin with telling us a little bit about some of the roles that you'll be playing here. You're our newest faculty member, recently transplanted from Indiana University, so you can talk a little bit about what you did at Indiana and what you plan to do here.
Okay. I am looking forward to my move. I have my tenure home is here in this school, and I have an appointment also in the Biomedical Research Center, which focuses on imaging but also other areas. I am looking forward to working with colleagues here as well as in the medical school. My goal is to really put priority on research first, and then begin to see how my teaching takes place, and looking at recruiting students and getting a research group going, basically.
So what kind of research directions do you see yourself moving in? I know you've had a lot of experience with visualization, with user interfaces, with retrieval systems,
right.
And in the past. Will you continue that vein?
Yeah, I do plan to continue. With this change, I'm also looking at my research sort of priorities from a new eye, if you will, and trying to look at a few areas in a bit more focused way than I have been. Recently, I had a project with a doctoral student focusing on more of a sort of a domain-centric approach to understanding video interaction and retrieval. I'll sort of take that theme of concentrating on a specific domain. Now, domain defined in terms of not just topical areas, but also the user group. So in this case, the project I was referring to in the video interaction context looked at how science teachers use video in their instruction and teaching. I intend to look at information retrieval interaction, not just in video but in other contexts, also from a domain angle. With my connection now with the medical school, I'm interested in focusing on specific populations, and health information seeking could be an area that I will consider seriously. I've been looking at that area. I've done a little bit of work in that area, but I want to really emphasize that in the short term.
So what does that mean, health information seeking? You mean just ordinary people doing, they are diagnosed with something and they want to find out about a disease or condition, or do you mean professionals doing it?
From a consumer angle first, and particularly elderly population. I'm interested in looking at how aging population deal with continuing sort of conditions, critical conditions they may have, such as heart disease or diabetes, as well as any new symptoms or a new thing that they're attempting to self-diagnose and understand. Now they have obvious barriers to overcome. Some barriers may have to do with just basic technology, understanding what tools exist, tools in terms of both hardware as well as software, to the knowledge domain, overcoming barriers associated with understanding the information that they have to interpret. So the domain in this case is constrained at least across two dimensions, which is health information targeted toward consumers, and the consumers being elderly population. I think that would be a very interesting area to focus on, and I'd like to begin to pick up research topics and go after that area in a more serious way.
This is really interesting. You certainly will want to talk with Joanne Marshall, who is interested in aging and has connections with the Center on Aging here. I think between that center and the medical school, there should be lots of interesting resources to tap.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm not going to necessarily abandon my core interest in, interface design and interaction and developing advanced search techniques. But I want to look at those from this context of the domain. So, for example, the elderly population, it could be that I find out the current tools and technologies may not be adequate or suitable even for serving them information in the context that they really need. It could turn out that maybe a voice-driven interaction could be a better modality for them, where they either talk to their machines or talk to a phone to get information. Now, we know that we could use voice-driven systems to query databases and pick up information and then formulate the information in a way that they understand. Could be in different languages if that is what is demanded. But I think a lot needs to be done research-wise to understand the context of the users and the information first, and then look at the tools and techniques and see what we can do. It raises interesting challenges for not just for understanding the sort of the theoretical context of how do people cope with information needs and demands that emerge, as well as more technological interesting challenges in terms of combining modalities of interaction. It could be that different modalities are necessary for interaction. We can't just assume that people will have desktop or laptops. It might be their phone, could be the best interaction tool for them. So looking at sort of more mobile ways of interacting with information, and how can that be a way to serve information. So
you'll certainly want to look at some of the work that we've done in the past on the personal health record usability, which there were studies actually in senior centers on how people are able to manage their prescriptions, as well as read test results and understand and interpret test results.
I will definitely look that up.
A lot of the healthcare organizations actually allow you to call in to get your test results, and so the actual spoken test results are in place in some HMO situations.
I see.
And
yeah,
that's probably going to work a lot more easily than having people speak actually into their records. So that's a great challenge, and I think it's well worth investigating.
Yeah, I'm thinking, from the context of, I mean, there are different levels of information needs that obviously that people have to face and deal with. It could be at a very early stage where they're trying to understand the condition and find information to interpret what they're feeling and themselves or their peers or family members. It's at that stage, or it could be something more ongoing where there is new information emerge, and that information need to be customized or personalized to a level that this individual can first notice it and know that this exists, and then understand it. So there are different types of technologies that may be needed for these different demands.
Let me shift a little bit, because I know that for many years you've been involved in the digital library community, and in fact have been the lead on a digital library curriculum project
Yeah.
that's nationally based.
Mhm.
Could you tell us a little bit about how that's going and
Sure.
sort of how you see this playing out in the years ahead as
Sure.
more and more people who come through information schools or information and library science programs
Sure.
end up working in digital library
Sure,
situations?
that's a good turning point and good question. I see that more in the realm of my teaching interest, and I was responsible for developing one of the earliest digital library courses at IU, and I've followed this area closely for a long time. My goal is, in fact, even here on the teaching side, eventually to develop a course around what I'm referring to as scholarly information systems and cyber infrastructures. I see a tremendous change, as a lot of other observers have noticed, happening in the way learners at different levels, from very early stages, pre-K level, to all the way to higher education level, are using tools and technologies to acquire information, learn, interact with knowledge. My focus will be more at the higher education level, at a sort of a research level, how scholarly information systems are utilized today, their current use and potential use. I see digital libraries, at least my interest from my context, more getting into that realm, and the profession that serves learners and in higher education institutions such as the libraries and museums, they have to begin to kind of look at it from that context as well, how the practice and the behaviors of scholars are changing and evolving and have evolved, where they rely on different types of tools and technologies to acquire the information that they need to do their research and scholarly work. I know a colleague, Chris Borgman, is developing a manuscript, and she probably will be publishing something this year on this topic, but I'd like to examine this for the next few years from a teaching perspective and develop maybe a course and eventually, hopefully, a book myself on this area. So,
fantastic.
yeah.
Do you expect to teach a digital library course or
Yeah,
eventually?
it'll be a digital library course, but it'll be probably called Scholarly Information Systems or something like that. I want to make it a bit more specific. I really don't want to get into the debate about what is a digital library and and all of that. My interest really in this increasingly is how do large multimedia collections of content and tools that extract and manipulate that content serve the purpose of scholars and researchers at a high-end level. I'd like to focus on the area of digital library from that perspective. It's significant changes going on that our profession, the information profession, really need to attend to, both from our own sort of research scholarly perspective, but also to serve the institutions, the information institutions, so that they know how to prepare themselves to serve the researchers and scholars better.
This course would be SIS at SLIT.
At SILS, right? SIS at SILS, right. I'm still refining the terminologies. Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah.
There's a pretty active scholarly communications group on campus,
Mm-hmm.
and you probably are aware of what Brad Hemiger's been doing with the Cradle group here as well. And so I think you'll find lots of support with your new colleagues.
I'm looking forward to it. Definitely. Yeah.
you're making this transition. You're going to be sort of split between this academic department and a research laboratory.
Right.
What do you see as some of the challenges and opportunities that
Sure.
brings?
That's a good point. With the BRIC Center and its emphasis and focus on images, I am also pondering perhaps, and this would be another dimension to my interest in digital library, is developing more specialized either modules or full-fledged courses on imaging and image management. And again, it could be from a sort of a teaching tutorial perspective, or it could be also that the imaging work could turn into more advanced, more research-oriented work in terms of how images are used by researchers in their work and work context, and what best organization would serve that purpose. As I understand, in talking with administrators around in medical school, there isn't really a concentrated effort to store, organize, aggregate, serve, disseminate images that are produced in the medical context here. It's a distributed operation, and they're produced in different contexts, and no one really is keeping track of all of that. So I think perhaps to use a overused word, a sort of a cyber infrastructure approach may be helpful in terms of looking at this production of images in research context, in a service context, in different places. How can we organize them for the purpose of serving teaching and research in a more systematic way? And it could also lead to developing courses and training modules out of that. And I'm interested in that from that context. And I'll probably that would be the first level effort that I'll make in terms of helping this center, and see, hopefully they'll find that of use.
This fits in very nicely with, I think, the sort of sales effort to try and integrate research and teaching, and make them sort of the two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
The sort of scholarly discovery and
Sure.
investigation of ideas.
Sure,
So,
sure.
I think this will be a welcome addition.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there other things you'd like to add before we wrap up here?
Well, I mean, I think I've touched on the areas that in short term that I'm highly interested in doing. Longer term, I'm really fascinated with the world of information retrieval and search, where that is going. And I've always followed this closely and tried to do my bit to contribute to changes. I refer to the viewers to an article I'd written a couple of years ago in Scientific American, looking at the future of search. I'm interested in collaborating with colleagues here to see if some of the things that I consider are necessary and important for search to evolve in a productive way will take place. One area being a serious focus on balanced approach to privacy and personalization. I think that's a major challenge. If we don't overcome, it will keep search tools and technologies from progressing to the next level. And I believe it already is. In some ways, keeping some of the more advanced techniques and tools from being exposed to a broader use because of concerns around privacy issues. I think we need innovative thinking, interesting ideas as far as how we can balance that people's concern and needs for protecting their privacy with there also a demand for having more accurate, more if you like, more proactive information systems that serve their purposes better. And so I'm interested in exploring that. I have a small-scale project actually looking at health information and privacy, but I'd like to sort of pursue that line further here in the future.
That's incredibly important and one to also keep an eye on and
Thank
lots
you.
of opportunities.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us, and good luck and welcome to SILS.
Thanks.